Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of At the Boundary, the podcast from the Global and National Security Institute at the University of South Florida. I'm Jim Cardoso, Senior Director for GNSI and your host for At the Boundary. Today on the podcast, our distinguished guest is the founding Executive Director of GNSI, retired Marine Corps General Frank McKenzie. Earlier this spring, General McKenzie accepted the position as the 21st President of the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. He's wrapping up his time at USF, and we wanted to get his departing thoughts on GNSI, Cyber Florida, and the national security enterprise at our university. First, some updates. Our next decision brief will publish later this week. GNSI Research Fellow Dr. Guido Rossi discusses Diego Garcia, its geostrategic criticality in supporting U.S. and allied military operations across multiple theaters, its potential change in sovereignty from Great Britain to Mauritius, and the issues arising from that change. The ownership of Diego Garcia significantly impacts the ability of the U.S. to project power in the Middle East and in any future conflict with China. We keep our decision briefs concise, so it's worth your time to read. You can find it on our website, and we'll drop a link in the show notes. We also dropped our most recent video series interview on our YouTube channel. GNSI Senior Research Fellow Dr. Rob Burrell spoke with Dr. Peter Gerritsen, Senior Fellow in Defense Studies at the American Foreign Policy Council, about what happens if China wins the space race against America. The world is in a new age of the space race, and Dr. Gerritsen contends that the U.S. needs to catch up before China has a chance to define the space-based order. Check out our YouTube channel, and we'll post a link in the show notes. Okay, on to the main topic. On June 15, 2022, General Frank McKenzie, recently retired from the Marine Corps and coming off an eventful tour as the commander of U.S. Central Command, became the founding executive director of the newly established Global and National Security Institute at USF. He was also dual-hatted as the executive director of the Florida Center for Cybersecurity, which at that time had been in place for 8 years. He led those organizations through nearly 4 years of initial startup pains, growth, accomplishment, and a few lessons learned along the way. As he prepares to depart to become the 21st president of the Citadel, we wanted to take a few minutes to look back on that experience, look forward towards what the future holds for these two organizations as he departs, and what he anticipates in his new role at the Citadel. General McKenzie, welcome to At the Boundary, and thank you so much for being here today at such a busy transition time.
Jim, it's always great to be with you, and you're right. It's a busy time for me, a very bittersweet time, but glad to take the time to chat with you here today.
Sounds good, sir. And so let's look back a little bit. So, sir, you retired in 2022 after a successful 42-year career serving our nation. What brought you to USF, GNSI, and Cyber Florida?
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, it was the opportunity to continue service. It was the opportunity to gain an affiliation with a remarkable university, one of the nation's best, and certainly one of Florida's best. It was an opportunity to work with people like you, and it was an opportunity to work with young people and to continue to serve not only our nation, but the state and the greater Tampa Bay area as well. It was an opportunity I couldn't say no to. I was very excited about it.
So let me dig into that a little more, sir. There's a lot of things a retired four-star general can do after retiring. Going direct to university, starting a policy institute, taking over a state cybersecurity organization, not exactly on the short list. So what was the attraction? What drew you in?
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, first of all, the people. Tampa's a great area. There are great people here. The former president of this university, Rhea Law, recruited me to come up here. And I was an easy sell, but she was a very effective, articulate recruiter as well. I liked the mission. The cyber mission feeds the defense of our nation. So I felt a call to continue to do that. It's an area I have some expertise in, and the opportunity to have a voice in the policy space and help this university establish itself in the national defense space were just opportunities too good to say no to.
What was it about USF and more broadly the Tampa Bay area that makes standing up and developing a policy institute inside the university the right call?
Well, Marilyn and I lived here on and off for a number of years since 2010, of course, at U.S. Central Command. living down at MacDill Air Force Base. So we knew the region. We liked the area. So that was an important thing, and for my wife to be happy, and she's certainly very happy here in Tampa. The other thing was this is an innovative, aggressive, bold university, university without a lot of history, but a university with a very bright future. And that was also very attractive to me because they were able to move quickly and move very adroitly in a number of ways that other schools are not able to do. And then, of course, the personality of the leadership, as I've already discussed. All of those things came together, aligned with a potential mission that I felt was very important, the cyber mission that I've already discussed, as well as the policy mission inside the national security space, both for the university, but for Tampa, the opportunity to reconnect to CENTCOM and SOCOM to serve those two combatant commands here in the Tampa Bay region, as well as the nation.
So going back again to 2022, when you first started this, what were your vision and priorities for GNSI going in?
Well, Jim, I wanted GNSI to have a voice, the Global and National Security Institute, to have a voice in the national security space for this university, to be a lens through which the remarkable intellectual capital and talent of the university could be used to help us in the national defense space, to serve the two combatant commands here in Tampa, U.S. Central Command and U.S. Special Operations Command, but also the larger Department of War of the United States, and in fact, the other agencies of the federal government. And the university had tried to do this before, but it had done so in a halting and uncertain manner, which made it hard for those entities to access and leverage the unique capabilities of this university. So GNSI designed to be that conduit that allows that connection to occur. It's a virtuous circle. It helps the nation. It helps those departments within the executive branch of government. And of course, it also helps the University of South Florida.
Any thoughts on what existed? You said USF tried to do this before, and I was here running the RTC program, and I remember that time. But something obviously was different in the university, the environment, or whatever. Any idea what that might have been that may have been better for success?
Sure. I think you have to have an insightful leader, and you had that in Rhea Law. She had the vision, the insight, and the strength of character to know what to do and how to do it, and she was willing to take the risk to do it. She also brought me in, which I appreciate, but gave her a four-star officer with national and international standing and stature, which allowed me to bring people together, to look at difficult issues and to draw people to the university as a place where we can help others do their very difficult jobs. And in a very large way, that's what we want GNSI to do, certainly operating on the policy technology boundary, but answering difficult questions, anticipating difficult questions. And all of that is the result of the leadership of President Law.
You know, one thing we're working a lot with our students now, the Future Strategist Program, providing student opportunities for their careers in national security. One thing we talk to them about is the importance of relationships. It's not so much, they're very technologically focused, but sometimes looking up from whatever technology or whatever's on their cell phone or whatnot, and to understand that the relationships still matter. And one of the things, a common theme I keep hearing, is that relationship you had with President Law from your times as CENTCOM commander and her being a part of the Tampa scene for a long time. Can you talk about that, the importance of that? Sure.
President Law, in a long chain of very effective leaders at the University of South Florida. Judy Genshaft, who preceded her, was also a very effective long-term steward of the university. And together, they had a vision to take USF forward to a much higher level of performance, characterized by and actually symbolized by admission to the American Association of Universities. Jim, which you know, is an elite organization of R1 research universities. Only the top 3% are admitted. Us coming into that organization, and I want to say it was 23, may have been 22, possibly 23, was certainly a crowning achievement of Rhea Law's, one of the great testimonies to her abilities as a leader.
So let's turn to Cyber Florida, because, executive director of both GNSI and Cyber Florida. In this case, you came into an organization that had already been around for 7 years. So what priorities did you want to continue for the positive evolution of that organization? So
the state of Florida asks Cyber Florida to perform certain cybersecurity activities based on the platform of the university. We've done cyber risk analysis. We've stood up a cyber range. We've done a variety of cyber training initiatives across the state, both for state employees, a K through 12 student population, and others. So it's a remarkable, unique platform, and it's sort of, I think, effectively put Florida at the very lead of the 50 states when it comes to understanding and taking positive actions on cybersecurity. It's a unique thing.
What do you see? You talked about some of the accomplishments of Cyber Florida, which were innumerable, and they had the history as well. GNSI is a new organization. What do you see walking out the door? Some of the foremost accomplishments of GNSI over your tenure as the founding executive director, which you'll always be, sir. There can only be one of those.
Well, thanks, Jim, for that compliment. I think GNSI is poised to continue. We now have a major academic journal, a double-blind peer-reviewed academic journal that sits at the very top in the national security literature. I think that's a very important achievement. We brought together a great group of scholars, both resident and non-resident, to go forward. I think we're a respected voice on critical issues that confront our nation. And I think also, and this is something I'm very proud of, we've begun to reach into the university. And as you noted a few moments ago, the Future Strategist Program brings together undergraduate and graduate students across the university, not just ROTC students who contemplate a future career in the national security space, whether it's in defense, whether it's in the Department of State or one of the other agencies of the government. This is new. It's very new. It's just getting off the ground. We're very excited about it. We're sending students to Washington. We're sending students to Cambridge in the United Kingdom, doing a wide variety of things with the undergraduate and graduate student population here at USF. And that's a big step forward. One of the things I'm going to be the most proud of as I walk away.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We started the program off. It was late 2024. We were hoping for some number of students that may be interested. And right now we're up to over 120 students that are fully engaged in the Future Strategist Program. And I think that's going to continue to grow. So that's a great program we look forward to continue to develop. So both GNSI and Cyber Florida will have new leadership shortly. And additionally, USF, we have a new president, Dr. Mose LeMay. He's just starting his 4th month on the job as we record this. So a lot of simultaneous transition. What advice would you give your successor, or maybe successors, in continuing the trajectory of both GNSI and Cyber Florida?
Well, there's a good path forward. Listen to the team here. Make sure you're integrated into the university. The university is very lucky to get Moez as its president. He's going to do a fantastic job. I'm very happy for both he and the university going forward. I think we're going to need to take our cues off him in the days and weeks ahead. We'll get good leadership in here, and there's good leadership in here now, Jim. You're good. Ernie's good. I think we're in a very good space going forward.
Now, I look forward to it. I don't look forward to you leaving. Okay, that's obviously not the case. But I think one thing I've told people is that, look, a great leader is going to set up the organization for continued success. And I think you've done that for both us and for Cyber Florida as well. Now, so looking forward beyond, for you, on July 1st, you will become the 21st president of the Citadel, the Military College of South Carolina. And I imagine even after a highly accomplished career of service, it's got to be exciting to return to your alma mater in this manner. What are you looking most forward to?
Well, I'm looking forward to interacting with cadets more than anything else. I was a cadet a long time ago. I have strong feelings. Whatever I've earned in life, I owe to the Citadel. I look forward to the opportunity to repay some of that the college has given to me. And I have a sense that my service is not yet done, and I seek opportunities to work. This will give me an opportunity to do that. This is the only thing I would have left this great institution to do.
Yes, you're leaving Tampa to go to Charleston. You've talked about you love Tampa. You also love Charleston as well. So it's trading one for the other. Sorry to see you go, but it looks like a fantastic future for your boss. This move does signal kind of an ongoing transition from primarily as a military leader to now also an education leader. And during your time here at GNSI and Cyber Florida, you've obviously remained a sought-after thinker, commentator on national security and global affairs. So let's combine those two. How do you see the role of education evolving to address a consistently complex and chaotic global security environment?
Well, the education is more important in complex environments. You train for certainty, you educate for uncertainty. And we're going into an era of profound uncertainty. That requires a mastery of cognitive skills. You've got to know how to think, and the ability to think beyond the moment, but to project yourself into the future. That requires a broad liberal, and by liberal, I'm talking in the academic sense, a broad liberal education, one that has a history component, has a science component, has a social component, has a broad variety of different things, all of which tend to produce a graduate who can confront very difficult, evolving situations.
So I anticipate you hitting the ground running on July 1st when you take over. What priority actions do you have in mind? What can Citadel cadets expect from their new president, one of their own alumni?
Well, I'm just happy to join the line of march, get back to the long gray line, and march in step among so many others who have come before me, are there now, and will come after me. It's a bright opportunity for the college, and I look forward to getting started. So
lastly, and most important, USF will have its new stadium open for the 2027 football season. When will this new stadium host a USF Citadel matchup?
Well, Jim, when they cut us a check to come down here and play.
That's it. Okay, well, that's what we know we'll be pushing for. General McKenzie, we are very sorry to see you go, but we look forward to seeing the Citadel benefit from your leadership and your experience. Thanks for your time today. Even as you get ready for the move, we really appreciate your insights. Special thanks to our guest today, Founding Executive Director of GNSI and Executive Director of Cyber Florida, retired Marine Corps General Frank McKenzie. Our organizations, the National Security Enterprise of USF, and this entire university owe him a huge debt of gratitude for really establishing USF as an international leader in national security and cybersecurity research, education, and outreach. You'll be missed, sir. And you are always welcome back in our spaces and on our airwaves. Next week on the podcast, GNSI non-resident fellow Manoli Priniatakis will interview Dr. Sina Azodi. Dr. Azodi earned his PhD right here at USF and is currently director of the Middle East Studies Master's Program at George Washington University. His book, Iran and the Bomb, The United States, Iran, and the Nuclear Question, will publish next week. If you're paying even nominal attention to current events, you can see the timely relevance of this book and will join us for what promises to be a riveting discussion. If you don't want to miss that episode or any other episode, be sure to like and subscribe to At the Boundary on your favorite podcast platform. And we appreciate you sharing some time with us today. You can find GNSI on YouTube, LinkedIn, and X. Be sure to follow, like, and subscribe. Tell your friends and colleagues as well. And be sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. You can find all this on our website at usf.edu/GNSI. That's going to wrap up this episode of At the Boundary. Each new episode will feature global and national security issues we found to be insightful, intriguing, maybe controversial, but overall, just worth talking about. I'm Jim Cardoso, and we'll see you at the Boundary.